Hello, I'm Tito Goby, and this is a breaking news. The worst has happened. Um, let's just get to it.
The United States and Israel have initiated coordinated military strikes against targets inside Iran, with President Donald Trump announcing the commencement of major combat operations aimed at eliminating imminent threats posed by the Iranian regime. Israeli officials describe the action as a preemptive effort to neutralize existential dangers to regional security. In direct response, Iran has confirmed that its forces have launched ballistic missile attacks targeting multiple United States military installations across the Gulf region.
All right. So just to be clear, the Iranian government struck U.S. bases first.
According to Iran's Fars news agency, the strikes have hit Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the forward headquarters of US Central Command and the largest American military facility in the Middle East, Al Salem Air Base in Kuwait, Al Dhafra Air Base in the United Arab Emirates, the US Naval Support Activity Bahrain, home to the headquarters of the US Navy's Fifth Fleet. Bahrain has officially confirmed that facilities associated with the Fifth Fleet were targeted in the missile barrage. Reports from AFP indicate explosions in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, though the precise nature and origin of these incidents remain under verification at this time. Within Iran, the situation is equally fluid and alarming. Multiple explosions have been reported in Urmia, in the western province, immediately following Israeli military announcements of strikes in that area. The Israeli Defense Forces issued evacuation warnings to residents in proximity to Iranian military installations. A loud explosion has now been heard in Tehran, the Iranian capital, as reported by Al Jazeera Arabic and corroborated by witnesses describing smoke rising over parts of the city. In Manama, Bahrain's capital, a fresh explosion has been documented by AFP, following the initial missile attack on the nearby US base. In Doha, Qatar, multiple detonations were audible shortly after the Qatari Ministry of Defense stated that air defense systems had successfully intercepted all incoming Iranian missiles. Assessments of any residual effects continue. This exchange of strikes has placed the Gulf region and beyond on maximum alert. Air raid sirens, defensive activations, and civilian protection measures are in force across several nations. DRM news correspondents are actively monitoring official statements, military sources, and on-the-ground reports. We will return with confirmed updates as information is verified. Stay with us for continuing coverage of this rapidly evolving and highly volatile crisis. This is DRM News.
Yeah, we're at war. We are at war. I don't know how long this is gonna last. I really hope it doesn't last for years, but it's going to be another bloodbath. Oh, man. Here we go. I really hope for the civilians of Iran and Israel to be safe. But who knows? And here's the statement from our president, our current president.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again, they can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Okay, that's from the White House. I just saw this real quick on the side. Um, I don't know. They're reporting it, but I'm not really quite sure if it's true.
We are just now getting this breaking news that's coming into us from Fox. I'm going to have our producers behind the scenes change the banner, but right now this has just been confirmed, Brian, over the air, that Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah, has been killed in those strikes. Fox is now reporting that on screen. They're having their reporter speaking on it now as he's live in Tel Aviv. But once again, folks, for just joining us here at home, we've been waiting for this information. We had gotten some insight before from our partners there at Reuters. They were able to talk to us to let us know that Netanyahu, the prime minister, as he just had statements a little while ago, said that there were signs that the prime minister, that the Ayatollah was no longer anymore. This is what he said, according to Aisha Hasni with Fox News. This morning, we have destroyed the compound of the tyrant Khamenei, many of the signs showing that he is no longer. That is exactly what he said in his speech. We have just been informed by Fox News confirming that Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei, has now been killed in these strikes. And so as we're getting this breaking news, and we still have Brian on the line here. Brian, I'm going to have you jump in here once again as we're talking about this. This is the moment that we've been waiting to hear. We didn't have confirmation. It was suspected. It was put out there on the internet. I had told folks earlier today we won't be confirming anything until we have it from our trusted sources. But a huge moment to see that Khamenei has now been pronounced dead.
Yes, and I would guess that he is not the only one.
Seriously?
He has a son who's very powerful. He may have been killed as well. We'll wait for confirmation on that, and much of the
so
leadership.
nothing's been confirmed
There was a
yet.
bifurcation of efforts here, Christina. The Israelis were moving in for a decapitation strike, cleaning out the leadership of the country. The American targets were different. And so the Israelis have exacted the ultimate punishment to the Iranian leadership. Now, what happens after this is what's going to be very interesting. The Revolutionary Guard there, the military, very oppressive people domestically, they have a choice to make. there's now a power vacuum, potentially, if it's not only Khomeini who's gone, but the leadership, to do exactly what Donald Trump asked them to do, which is lay down your arms, and you'll get what he called immunity, so that the people of Iran may rise up and form a new government. But this strike against the leadership didn't just kill the Ayatollah. It probably killed many other people in the leadership.
Of course.
And so there you have it. That's from Bill Maluzhin. He's citing Trey Yingst, who is now reporting with Fox News on this newest information, that it's saying a senior Israeli official is the one who confirmed to our colleagues that Iran's supreme leader is now dead. And so we're watching all of this again unfold in real time alongside with you. And so it was the Iranian supreme leader who was killed in these strikes as a part of this massive joint military operation between the United States and Israel. Israel's ambassador told this also to officials in Washington, D.C. Other officials are now confirming to different media outlets all around the United States that this is true. The 86-year-old Khomeini led Iran for 35 years, making him one of the world's longest-serving authoritarian rulers. His death, though, is a massive blow to the regime and could accelerate, as we've been speaking with here with Brian, on its collapse, which the United States and Israeli forces have staged as a goal of this operation. The killing is going to continue to set off a succession crisis with no clear answer, as Brian was just discussing. I do want to note that under Iran's constitution, a council of clerks is meant to select a new leader, supreme leader. But Israel's strikes have also targeted senior Islamic Revolutionary Guards, that's the IRGC that we've been speaking about, their commanders and political leaders as well, leaving the regime's chain of command in disarray at this moment. And so that's the latest breaking news just coming into our newsroom. Fox News now reporting that Iran's supreme leader Khomeini has now been killed in these strikes. And so for folks who are just now joining us, we're going to continue to give you these updates and some of the fallout that has been happening in the aftermath. This just in from the Associated Press talking about what's happening regionally there, that hundreds of people are now demonstrating in Baghdad in support of Iran against those attacks that were launched by Israel and the United States.
Well, that escalated real quick. Okay, let's go to X, Twitter. Let's see what's going on there. Okay. 30 minutes ago.
Is an attempt to reshape the Middle East, killing dozens of schoolgirls. Shame! And we've seen this brutality, this depravity, with complete impunity by Israel and the U.S. for years now, so we understand full well what this war is. This is an attempt to reshape the Middle East, but we gather here today to reject that. Killing dozens of schoolgirls. Shame! And we...
So, hundreds marched to stop war on Iran through New York City after U.S. and Israel launched strike on Iran. Who's gonna tell him that they got the guy? I don't know. Here we go. Welcome to final war against Iran. Like I said, it escalated real quick. This is from the U.S. Army. No audio, but there's a bunch of exchanges of missiles. What's this? Boom, 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 boom. Wow. Red Panda. These orbs are going to come and wake us up when Israel goes to war with Iran. Red Panda again. No war with Iran. No one should be elected to U.S. Congress who supports illegal wars with Iran and help Israel advance its dominant domination of the Middle West. Um, okay.
There is absolutely no reason why the United States should be involved in Iran. It's like Vietnam. Like, it's absolutely pointless. We got in Vietnam because of France, and we are involved in Iran not because Americans are threatened, not because they have nuclear weapons that are aimed at the United States, not because they're economically trying to sabotage our economy, not because they have hostages. We are literally blowing up Iran and trying regime change, right? We're not just throwing missiles, we're trying to kill their supreme leader
Actually, we did.
for Israel.
Mm.
This is crazy, man. We gotta wake up. We can't allow any person in Congress who thinks that this is okay.
Right. There you go. Senator Andy Kim. The people I spoke to at my town hall in New Jersey do not want us to go to war with Iran.
Donald Trump has positioned military assets all throughout the Middle East. We have now 2 aircraft carrier groups out there, 10 naval destroyer ships out there, as he is now threatening potentially in the next few days taking sustained and significant military action against Iran. Now look, I don't think anybody here is going to defend Iran. We know the dangers that they pose. But we also know the dangers that this poses. As someone who worked in Iraq, worked in Afghanistan, I worry so much about what our country has been through, especially when we have so many other challenges. So I say that, like, look, to this crowd right now, raise your hand if you want to see our country go to war with Iran next. Raise your hand if you think that if a president is going to take military action, that they need to hear from the voice of the American people and be able to bring this before Congress, right? Donald Trump has positioned.
All right. Mind you, these, I guess, comments was from what, February 20th. February 20th.
There is
This one
absolutely
from
no
30 minutes ago. Let's do a refresh and see if there's any more other comments. And okay. My system froze. Of course. Of course. There we go. Let's restart Google. Go back to X. Okay, from this from 9 hours ago. Charlie Kirk in June of 2025. Explain why a massive U.S. war against Iran and an attempt to facilitate region change as pushed by people like Lindsey Graham is pathologically insane. And yeah, this is from the guy that you guys really hate.
That sounds good, doesn't it? Let's do some updates about Israel and Iran and potentially the United States. On one side is the Lindsey Graham, John Bolton types, where they are actively calling for regime change. Here is Lindsey Graham. This is just lunacy. this kind of analysis is not helpful. This kind of approach, this kind of argument, it has nothing to do with nuclear weapons at this point. This is now that we want to go all in and take out the regime. It's time for us to close the chapter on the Iranian Ayatollah and his henchmen and start a new chapter in the Middle East. And that sounds good, doesn't it? But what have we learned when it comes to wars, and especially wars in the Middle East? What you draw up on a whiteboard rarely happens. What you think theoretically is going to occur, there might be unintended and unforeseen consequences, especially when you're talking about a country 2.5 times the size of Texas. It has 90 million people and was an ancient and great power with well over a dozen ethnic groups. You have underground Christians. You don't really have many Jews left in Persia. But also you have secular younger Persians. Who's going to run the country exactly, Lindsey Graham? This sounds like Hillary Rodham Clinton in Libya. So I'm pointing to the first extreme right now, the neoconservative extreme. The we must go take off the head of the snake right now. Play cut 285.
Be all in, President Trump, in helping Israel eliminate the nuclear threat. If we need to provide bombs to Israel, provide bombs. If we need to fly planes with Israel, do joint operations. But here's the bigger question. Wouldn't the world be better off?
This is going to take a bit longer, but yeah, even Charlie Kirk, the guy that you celebrated when he on his death, was against this war also. God, man. Iran will determine the end of the war. This is okay. He says retaliatory operations will continue without pause, and relentless unity finally defeats of the enemy. All U.S. bases and all U.S. bases and interests in the regions are legitimate targets. Wow.
مدرسه در شهرستان میناب بود که منجر به شهادت تعداد
This was from 19 seconds ago. So they're still gonna go at it. They're still gonna continue the war without the Ayatollah or without their head. Oh man. Let's see what else is going on. Maybe there's some light to this. Let's see. U.S. War. Let's filter this down to today. 13 hours ago. Today, relevance. Another 3 minutes. 3 minutes. 11 hours ago, we just saw that live. Okay, we saw his speech 9 hours ago, 10 hours ago, live. Okay, let's see the live one.
Escalate. But until then, what they're focused on is survival. What they're focused on is ending this as quickly as possible and ensuring that as much of the regime's leadership and assets remain intact throughout this conflict.
So give me a moment, and Sandeep, I want you to weigh in on the Strait of Hormuz. And strategically, you and I have been talking about this. Should this happen, it will be a major catastrophe. Explain to our viewers, one, why? Two, are there any effective countermeasures in place?
Well, Gaurav, the Straits of Hormuz is one of the most important waterways in the world. It is where 20% of the world's oil and gas energy literally flows through. It's a vital artery for the world, and this is a place where Iran has the maximum leverage because it dominates that entire Straits of Hormuz. The straits are about 100 kilometers long, and there are about 30 kilometers at its narrowest part. And for the last several decades, Iran has exercised how they could shut these straits down in case of a crisis. In case Iran, the regime, was directly attacked, the fallback option for them was to threaten to shut the Straits of Hormuz, thereby impacting the global economy and bringing pressure on the United States to desist from trying to topple the Iranian regime. And Iran has, seen this. They've been exercising this extensively over the past couple of decades. If you see the kind of capabilities that they've built up in the last few years, it is fast attack craft, swarming craft, AI-driven craft that are basically meant to charge in like kamikazes and hit ships. As Tara Karta was mentioning, that even if one ship goes down over there, it has the potential to block all of those shipping in that entire region. There's something like 700, 800 ships right now. I'm just looking at the numbers. They have slowed down. The straits are still open, but they're extremely wary, exactly like what's happening with the airspace. The airspace is really closed.
Because in a moment, Sandeep, we'll just put out the Strait of Hormuz on a map for our viewers to understand and appreciate better why Iran's threat of shutting down the Strait of Hormuz is a global threat. It's a very, very massive threat. The question remains, does the world have effective countermeasures? Because so far, it's been war game, and that is where Ambassador Sajanhar, Iran can actually hold the world's juggler, put a knife to the juggler and say, we'll shut down the Strait of Hormuz. What can the world do? As, Tara Karta was just pointing out, they can sink a ship there and we are done for.
Right. I think that definitely is a very, potent threat, and it's a very valid threat. But two things let's remember also, that, the Iranian regime has been in position for the last 47 years, and they have been under attack for several times. Of course, the pressure that is being built on them right now is...
Okay. Yeah, so it looks like even though they got the main people, they cut off the head, I think the war's gonna still continue. I really hope it doesn't. But yeah, this just a big fucking mess now. All right. Well, I guess let's try to keep an eye on this. Hopefully, I really hope things goes well for the Iranian civilians and whoever else is involved, our American troops, whoever else is visiting these lands. Man, I hope that civilians also in Israel are safe. But this is just this is one fucking mess. There you go. World War III live. Let's hope for the best. Goodbye.